Hi, my name is Gay DeRusso, and I'm the owner and trainer of the Majestic Rider. I've been training gaited horses for the past 20 years. These horses, again, that are very lazy, if you have them go over poles in the beginning, they might just flail over the poles. They don't mind stepping over them. They don't mind hitting them. That happened. Oh boy! If you think the horse cannot feel its feet, a great test for it is to jump over something. So again, you might have to put a jump down, because you'll see a big difference from a horse that's smacking over a pole to a horse that's actually going over a jump and using itself and can actually land on its feet and not fall down. Same thing if you made him jump over something coming down a hill. A neurologic horse that could not feel its feet would actually fall down and not catch itself. But again, a lot of these horses will be calm and lazy, and so when you do test with them, even when I'm teaching them to do things and I have them pop over a jump, they'll come up to the jump not paying attention at all. And then once they realize the jump's there, they will jump and go over it, and the next time they come to it, they're usually much better. But if they are not paying any attention to it, they do not mind flailing into the jump, falling into it, knocking it over, unless it's one of the antsy, hotter horses. The calm ones will just knock it over, come around, and if you haven't picked up the jump by then, they'll just flail themselves through it again, because they're not so worried about it and they know they can do many things with their legs to get through it. So again, that might make you think that this horse is neurologic. Okay, so we set up some Valetti poles, and we have a very pacey horse. We're going to see if we can convert him over to a trot. First, we're just going to walk him through, because we don't want him to run through and obliterate it. We're using these to separate his legs, like that. And we don't want him to step on it or canter over it. We want him to walk through it. riding poles and then one canter pole. The problem with some of these horses and obstacles are they're lazy, so they don't like to pick their feet up. They can flail over things because they can do so many things with their legs, so they can canter, trot, pace over it. They're not scared, so they'll bang into the poles or almost fall over them and catch themselves. So in the beginning, until they learn how to do it, they just kind of throw themselves over stuff. But you can see how when you're riding them, if they're not paying attention, how that would come into play. They don't pick their feet high enough, and then because they drag their feet or glide them above the ground, they'll catch it on something. And then if they're half asleep, they start falling down. The problem is with the rider up there, if you don't immediately lean back and pull on the horse, you throw your weight forward, which then causes the horse to lose his balance, and then they fall down. So you'll see this horse did some crazy stuff in the beginning. It cantered over it and flailed over it and tripped over it, but nobody was on his back. So not once did he ever pommel into the ground. But if he had done those things and I was on him and I didn't balance myself or help him and I fell forward, that extra weight would just take him over. It's just physics. So a lot of when they're tripping and falling and not paying attention, one is how the rider's riding them, because you got to keep these horses awake because they're so submissive and docile that they just start falling asleep. And then two is their balance. You got to balance yourself. You got to keep the horse collected and awake and make them use themselves. So if you're chit-chatting and not paying attention, a lot of times when they'll fall, even though you're going up a hill, because they're not picking up their feet high enough. So the poles will help, but first you got to get them through the poles and teach them how to get through it, and then they'll get better and better. But you need to keep them awake, but you also need to be an active rider up there. You need to sit up, balance yourself. And if you're top heavy, which a lot of people are, they're bigger up here than they are down there. When that weight goes, especially if it's a smaller horse, you'll knock it over. So you got to get better at leaning back. So, at home, sit in a chair and just practice leaning back. Just pretending in your mind the horse trips or something happens, and lean back. And watch yourself in a mirror so you see how far you actually have to lean back. You want to lean back as far as you can, because any weight that goes forward is going to knock them forward. So if you get the weight off of their front end and put it on their back end, then as they're tripping, they're able to catch themselves and usually can get back up. But if you don't, your balance goes forward, then the horse falls down and you think something's wrong with them, but it's actually that you knocked him over. Still check their feet, check their saddle, check everything else, but most of the time it's the horse being lazy and then rider error or poorly balanced rider. I've talked to a fair amount of other gaited trainers in the area. We're in California, so this is, we're having a big influx of gaited horses here. And I also talked to them because a fair amount of them have Tennessee walking horses. So just so the information's not just coming from me. about the same thing with their horses stumbling, and many of them said their horses stumble when they are not paying attention, that you have to engage them and make them move to get them to pay attention, and then they do just fine. But they were not bred to walk slowly on the trail with a loose rein, which is how many people want to ride them now. They were bred to go in gait and actually move out, and then they were bred to be calm. So they also recommended engaging the horse, making the horses work. They also said, as I have seen, that many of the people coming to them have had horses that were diagnosed with wobbler's disease. And I asked them as well, because I've had clients who had this, that they took the horse to the vet, that they said they understood gaited horses, but they weren't sure if they really did or not. The horse failed the following neurological test: the circling, because their hindquarters went out and their feet moved all over the place. Placing their feet, they also failed that because the horse didn't move its feet back right away. The tail pull, because the horse fell over to its side. So then they x-rayed the horse, and of course you can tell on an x-ray if there is a defect in the bone. But the horses that we've seen diagnosed did not have defects in the bone, but the veterinarians told the owners that their horses had wobblers and recommended the horses being put down. Now, since I work in the medical field, anything we diagnose somebody with, we also have to prove it. We can't just say somebody has some disease and we're going to put them down because we feel they are dangerous. So if I had a horse with wobbler's disease and it was my horse, and that's what I was told he had, and I thought something was wrong with him, I would then proceed with the next test, which would be an MRI, which may be expensive for some clients, or to do a nerve study, an EMG. Because both of these things could prove that that horse had wobblers. So the MRI, of course, should show a defect and would show compression on the nerve, or the EMG would show that there is a latency of the electric stimulus going down the nerve, and the horse is unable to feel it. But I would do this. So all I'm asking is, again, these Tennessee walking horses are very funny and they're hard to understand unless you've actually owned one, and owned one with a big lanky back end, because not all of them have that. And so if you're finding a horse that you think has wobblers, but the x-ray is inconsistent and doesn't show anything, please don't recommend they put the horse down yet. Please either ask for a second opinion, speak with a veterinarian in Tennessee or Missouri, somebody who's seen many of these gaited horses before, or find a gaited trainer in the area, but somebody who has extensively worked with Tennessee walking horses, not just randomly working with an occasional gaited horse here or there. Because again, we will recognize if this is normal walking horse behavior or something else. But if they're, I would recommend they proceed with the MRI or EMG, not put the horse down, but to prove that it has it. Because if it doesn't have it, again, this just might be the way that the client doesn't understand the horse. They're new to Tennessee walking horses. I've seen that many times. They don't understand how they're supposed to ride the horse, and they're not riding it correctly, and that's why it's having problems like tripping or falling. Or the farrier does not have the correct angles on the horse. That, of course, can make it trip. The horse is being too calm. That can make it trip as well. Or they're riding the horse and the horse isn't paying any attention and it's looking all over the place. And you know, when you're walking and texting on your phone, people trip, they walk into glass walls, they walk into each other because you're not paying attention. The difference is nobody's going to recommend you be put down because you walked into something, but that does happen with the horses. So make sure there's concrete proof, please, before you recommend putting these horses down. Or you can call me up or you can email me. I'm happy to help. I just don't want healthy, good Tennessee walking horses being put down for being Tennessee walking horses.